Welcome to the White Lotus channel. Good morning. Woke up Saturday morning, saw a Twitter post from Cyro Monopoli indicating they went 5-0 with a deck modified with his friend Emanuele Navarra. So it's a Kuldotha modification, and we're going to look at the curve real quick. It's your typical Kuldotha curve, right? We've got, I'm not sure if you can see this correctly. This is one drop mania with a couple 2 drops and your fire blast that you're just going to cast off, sacrificing 2 mountains. So what they've done, let me switch back to card view. It says 8 creatures. That's not quite accurate. You've got Kuldotha Rebirth that's producing creatures, experimental synthesizer, which I think most of the time is not going to be cracked for your 2/2 samurai token. We're usually sacrificing the synthesizer to Kuldotha Rebirth. So we have eight creatures: Foldarin Epicure, Monastery Swiftspear, Kuldotha Rebirth as creature-esque, right? It's putting creatures on the battlefield. Yeah, it's putting 3, but per card, I'm not sure what the total count would be. But so the rest of the deck, when I first looked at it, I'm like, this is a burn heavy deck. The deck knows exactly what it wants to do. And you see that with play sets of all the cards that are in here. It has 4 implement, 4 chain, 4 experimental synthesizer, 4 blast, 4 rebirth, 4 lightning bolt, 4 swift spear, 4 epicure, 4 improvised club, which is the new addition to the deck, 4 reckless impulse. It is down 4 copies of Ren's Resolve, which I'm totally for that. I don't like the 8 rec version, as they call it, of 4 reckless impulse, 4 Ren's Resolve. I think it dilutes the deck a little bit too much. Others would disagree. That's fine. We all have a different opinion. I much prefer to have a balance of lethality and resiliency. And I think this deck achieves that. In the flex slots, we have 2 lava darts. Typically, if I'm playing a Kuldotha Rebirth deck, I do like Goblin Bushwhacker somewhere in the deck. It's not present. That's fine. I could see. I don't know how Lava Dart's going to win this match. It's going to be a benefit to Swiftspear for sure. But I don't know. Maybe this could be a split. 1 Lava Dart, 1 Goblin Bushwhacker. Maybe it's 2 Bushwhackers. We're going to run it as is, no changes. In the match that we play, it doesn't come into play at all. Always have a copy of Fire Blast. It's a great game ender. But I'm looking at Lava Dart as a flex slot, and maybe that's wrong. But that's how I'm going to look at it. So I ran some matches with it. I think Bushwhacker could be that spot, maybe a split. I'm not sure. Sideboard, well, go back to the main deck. Very simple plan. This is a burn heavy deck. It's got some creatures in it that's going to kind of get you those points that you need. But this is burn heavy. Gal Blast, Chain Lightning, Improvised Club doing 4 damage. What is it? Lightning Bolt, obviously. How much damage is this? 4 times 3 is 12, 24, another 16, another 16. It's a lot of burn damage. And another 4 off Blast and 2 off Dart. More burn heavy, right? So not your typical RDW approach. Far from it. You can add Implement too, even though likely we're sacrificing that. But I'm looking at it originally as a burn heavy deck. And I would play it the same way. Sideboard, 2 End the Festivities. Fairies match up, obviously other Kuldotha decks. I'm a big fan of Electrickery over End the Festivities, but End the Festivities is fine. And with a 17 land count deck, End the Festivities might be better. But I do like Electrickery for its instant speed. Flame Slash kills Enforcers. Gorilla Shaman, Affinity. Red Elemental Blast, UB Terror, Mono Blue. The Fey matchup. Cast into the Fire, Anti-Affinity. Boros Synth. Relic of Progenitus. I'm a big fan of Fairy Macabre versus Affinity, but you've got so many slots, right? So we're using Relic of Progenitus for me in the Affinity matchup because I think too often Affinity, where it's so successful, is their creature recursion. And that's where they get ahead. You take Mirror Enforcer at 7 mana, take 2 of them, that's 14 mana. They recur it from the graveyard and play them for free. You're paying 14 mana for 0. It's crazy. So the game plan is, or the sideboard certainly has a game plan against certain decks. This is not a, let me just throw cards in there in the sideboard in the event that I see enchantments or that I see artifacts. It knows what decks it's trying to play. It's beautifully designed. I really like it. But let's get into a game and see what happens. Game 1, unknown opponent. Love the opening hand. Swift Spear obviously is great. I'd rather have, if I've got Epicure in hand, I'd rather see a Kuldotha with it. They're paired together. So preferably with this kind of opening hand, I'd rather have Swift Spear rather than the second copy of Epicure. But not a bad opener by any means. Playing Tron, not sure which version. Rebirth is a great top deck. Pressure on the opponent. Not sure what we're going to see. The Great Furnace was fantastic. Variance on my side at the moment. Beautiful so far. And at this point, we were talking about Lava Dart Bushwhacker. At this point, what would be preferable? Like, we don't want to be result-oriented thinking. But is Bushwhacker the better draw here? I think it is. But I don't think it always is. I'm going to have to play with it. Opponent in serious trouble. Gaining life off the sacrificed artifacts is not with what we have in hand, is not an issue. We have some non-type play coming up here in a second on my part. We have lethal. There's no point in playing this mountain. We could just hold it in the event that something just went completely unexpected. Not that it's going to be with him tapped out. It's better to hold the mountain and use it to discard a blood token. But we have lethal. And this happens a lot. When I see certain things, I just don't play tight the entire game when certain things go. And that's a huge, huge problem that I need to fix. But we've got lethal, so let's go ahead and get it done. We'll use Improvised Club to sacrifice a creature, not the blood token. Game. Let's go on to game 2. Game 2. Feeling good. This is the kind of hand I'd like to see, where you've got an artifact sack outlet to Kuldotha Rebirth off Epicure. Would prefer that I not have 2 copies of Reckless in the opener, but this insta-keep. He led with his Rugged Highlands red source. Depending on the next land drop, if it's a non-Tron land, I'm pretty convinced he kept the hand simply because he had a sweeper. Let's see. The fact that he went Forest into Simic Signet, almost 100% confident. It's just what sweeper does he have? But I don't think he keeps this hand at all without the sweeper. We're still going to play it, though. But we're not going to go crazy. This is a mistake on my part. I should have went with Reckless Impulse before the attack in the event, because you always have to play to your outs or play to whatever is giving you more advantage. I lost a point of damage here by not playing Reckless Impulse first with the thought process. You could hit Monastery Swift Spear and get in for some extra damage. Mistake on me. And his tapping that's going on here, I wasn't sure at first if he was trying to go weather the storm, but he's tapping, untapping. Now I think he's pretty much got electrickery, and he was tapping that. He had to pay mana for Simic Signet, and the mana he had to tap was red, so he didn't have another red source. Fantastic draw with Swift Spear. Fantastic. 2 cards in the exile zone, Mountain Chain. He scoops. We're getting in for 6. It was really fun to play. Improvised Club did provide some reach that we want. Would like to have seen Lava Dart perhaps, just to play around with it. Really potentially think Bushwhacker might be an option. Lava Dart's a great choice though. Love the card. On a 17 land count, not sure how many lands I have to sacrifice with one Fire Blast in the main. But the deck is good. It's fast. Beautifully designed. Have a great day.